My name is Miko, and I'm a performance poet based in Edinburgh.
My name is Agnes Torök. I'm from Sweden, but my last name, my real name, Torök, is from Hungary. So I've got sort of a refugee past. But I only learned about spoken word in South Africa when I lived there, and it only became a huge part of my life after I moved to Scotland a few years ago.
I remember I used to try and reason with the bullies, but it always came out so pathetic, like, guys, stop. You're hurting my feelings. I remember one of them said that fat people don't have feelings, and you know what? Technically, hunger's still a feeling, but I felt plenty more besides that. I felt the word fat quickly go from observation to damnation until my only hope for salvation was to swallow their abuse, to eat up their insults until it made me sick. 3 times a day. I just went to a pub for a pint and there was poetry going on and they didn't let me go. They branded me. I had to go through the ritual, and now I can't really talk about it or they'll come for me. No, I don't know, I came to it through music. I really liked music, and I still do, big fan of music. And I was in a very sort of creatively stifling situation in my life. And I listened to a lot of Tom Waits, and he has some spoken word songs. I didn't know that's what it was called at the time, or I didn't know what it was. I just knew it wasn't really a song because not all of it rhymed and there wasn't necessarily a melody. It was like storytelling, but with music, and I thought, this is awesome.
Now you see, in this graveyard charade, well, it was kind of a late shift masquerade with 2 for a quarter and it's a dime for a dance with Woolworth rhinestone diamond earrings and a sideways glance.
I've been to gigs where the roof is coming off the place, where people are going nuts. They're screaming at everything, they're clicking, or they're just whooping and cheering, whistling, like that can happen. But I've also done gigs where there's like 4 people in the corner going
I like to walk home in the morning light, still dressed from last night, shoes in hand, smiling uncontrollably, just thinking about the best bits of last night's poem. I've never been much for art's sake. I mean, if it doesn't do anything for us, why do we spend so much time doing it? I want poetry to be the soundtrack to my life. Poetry to plug my headphones into, poetry to laugh and dance and cry and meditate to. I want poetry. So I've competed a little bit very small scale, and then some a little bit bigger nationally, and then some very much larger scale. And I've been to see the world slams and the European slams, which are amazing, and a completely different level of competition.
I got the opportunity to go to the World Slam in Paris, where I came 4th, and then from that I got invited to do the European Slam in Reims, or however you pronounce it, in France, and I won. I was, so I'm the European Slam champion for 2015. Yeah.
I'm feeling thrilling sensation of being tongue-tied, or maybe I could just shut up for a second and let you talk for a while.
I've seen great poems about everything from kind of coming out and LGBTI identities to, you know, dealing with suicide, dealing with depression, dealing with kind of small-scale daily feminism and racism and how we interact with those things and become our own people.
But I love performing with them, especially Kevin McLean, just because I've performed with him for years. Even though we've not been doing poetry for very long, we met each other through youth theatre and stuff. So other than a couple of my old comedy friends, there's very few people that I trust that much on stage. Yep. Whatever happens. We do a really intense poem about suicide, the 2 of us. And it's a really personal poem for both of us. It's very difficult, and we don't perform it very often. And sometimes it's less polished than most of our work is, because it's a bit more raw.
As communities, what poetry does for us is it creates these new communities of people who probably wouldn't have met otherwise. I think as an international student coming to Scotland, most people I know who were in my seat, who were international students coming to Scotland, legitimately met no one Scottish, met no one who didn't come from the same class background as them, met no one who wasn't the same ethnicity as them, met no one who didn't have the same religion as them. What poetry does is it creates communities where people from very different backgrounds and of different opinions and different kind of experiences meet and discuss these things through poetry. And I think it creates amazing kind of alliances between people, and it creates amazing spaces to discuss personal and political issues. And I can't imagine my life without having that access to that community.
There's so much out there. The UK's got an amazing scene right now. It is getting more and more mainstream because of YouTube and things like that, and because of Channel 4, BBC, STV, like all the major television broadcasters are starting to get more into it as well. It's appearing on radio. Like me and Carly Brown, who's a Texan but Glasgow-based poet, we're going down to Glastonbury this year to join some other like people like Holly McNish and stuff like at Glastonbury. Like that's so cool. So yeah, support spoken word, man. It's out there everywhere. And if you have a friend that says they don't like poetry, it's like saying you don't like movies or you don't like music. You might not like Bruce Willis movies, but you don't dislike movies. There's loads out there, and yeah. So keep on looking, and because it'd be a shame if that was never in your life, because it's pretty awesome.